and sing The Church Has No Foundation.
Cut it out.
The church has one foundation, 'tis Jesus Christ her Lord. She is a new creation by water and the word. From heaven he came and sought her to be his holy bride. With his own blood he bought her, and for her life he died. Elect from every nation, one or all the earth, her character of salvation. One Lord, one faith, one word, one holy name she blesses, partakes one holy food, and to one hope she presses with every grace endued. Mid toil and tribulation and tumult of her war, she waits the consolation of peace forevermore, till with the vision glorious her longing eyes are blessed, and the great church victorious shall be the church at rest.
These children say. It says, Jesus' dad name. A Sunday school teacher asked her class, what was Jesus' mother's name? One child answered, Mary. The teacher then asked, who knows what Jesus' father's name was? A little kid said, Virgin. Confused, the teacher asked, where did you get that? The kid said, well, you know they're always talking about Virgin Mary. A little boy was overheard praying, Lord, if you can't make me a better boy, don't worry about it. I'm having a real time like I am. A Sunday class was studying the 10 Commandments. They was ready to discuss the last one. The teacher asked if anyone could tell her what it was. Susan raised her hand, stood tall, and quoted, thou shalt not take the covers off thy neighbor's wife. These things kids say. Kids see things different than we do.
They got a point though.
After the christening of his baby brother in church, Jason sobbed all the way home in the back seat of the car. His father asked him 3 times what was wrong. Finally, the little boy replied, that preacher said he wanted us brought up in a Christian home, and I want to stay with you guys. A teacher asked her children as they was on the way to church service, and why is it necessary to be quiet in church? One bright little girl quoted, because people are sleeping. A 6-year-old Angie and her 4-year-old brother Joel were sitting together in church. Joel giggled, sang, and talked out loud. Finally, his big sister had enough. You're not supposed to talk out loud in church. Why? Who's going to stop me? Joel asked. Angel pointed to the back of the church and said, see those 2 men standing back by the door? They are Herschels. A mother was preparing pancakes for her sons, Kevin 5 and Raylan 3. The boys began to argue over who would get the first pancake. Their mother saw the opportunity for a moral lesson. If Jesus was sitting here, he would say, "Let your brother have the first pancake. I can wait." Kevin turned to his younger brother and said, "Raylan, you be Jesus." A father was at the beach with his children when a 4-year-old son ran up to him, grabbed his hand, and led him to the shore, where a seagull lay dead in the sand. "Dad, what happened to him?" the son asked. "He died and went to heaven," the dad replied. The boy thought a moment and then said, "Did God throw him back down?" A wife invited some people to dinner. At the table, she turned to her 6-year-old daughter and said, "Would you like to say the blessing?" "I wouldn't know what to say," the girl replied. "Just say what you hear Mommy." "Just say what you hear Mommy say," the wife answered. The daughter bowed her head and said, "Lord, why on earth did I invite all these people?"
Sabbath hours, not ours, but God's.
Not ours for what?
Sabbath hours, not ours, but God's.
Oh,
Not ours, but God's.
Yeah. Amen.
God has given us the whole of 6 days in which to do our work, and has reserved only one to himself. This should be a day of blessing to us, a day when we should lay aside all our secular matters and center our thoughts upon God and heaven. When the Sabbath commences, we should place a guard upon ourselves, upon our acts and our words, lest we rob God by appropriating to our own use that time, which is strictly the Lord's. We should not do ourselves, nor suffer our children to do any manner of our own work, for a likelihood of anything which could have been done on the 6 working days. Friday is the day of preparation. Time can then be devoted to making the necessary preparation for the Sabbath, and to thinking and conversing about it. Nothing which will, in sight of heaven, be regarded as a violation of the holy Sabbath should be left unsaid or undone, to be said or done upon the Sabbath. God requires not only that we refrain from physical labor upon the Sabbath, but that the mind be disciplined to dwell upon sacred themes. The 4th commandment is virtually transgressed by conversing upon worldly things, or by engaging in light and trifling conversation. Talking upon anything or everything which may come into the mind is speaking our own words. Every deviation from right brings us into bondage and condemnation. Sabbath time too precious to sleep away. None should permit themselves through the week to become so absorbed in their temporal interests and so exhausted by their efforts for worldly gain that on the Sabbath they have no strength or energy to give to the service of God. We are robbing the Lord when we unfit ourselves to worship him upon his holy day. And we are robbing ourselves as well, for we need the warmth and glow of association, as well as the strength to be gained from the wisdom and experience of other Christians. Let not the precious hours of Sabbath be wasted in bed. On Sabbath morning, the family should be astir early. If they arise late, their confusion and bustle preparing for breakfast and Sabbath school. There is hurrying, jostling, and impatience. Thus unholy feelings come into the home. The Sabbath, thus desecrated, becomes a weariness, and its coming is dreaded rather than loved. This is found CG 530, paragraph 2.
Amen.
I'm going to be reading a poem. It's called If Jesus Came to Your House. If Jesus came to your house to spend a day or two, if he came unexpectedly, I wonder what you'd do. Well, I know you'd give your nicest room to such an honored guest, and all the food you serve to him would be the very best. And you would keep assuring him you're glad to have him there, that serving him in your home is joy beyond compare. But when you saw him coming, would you meet him at the door with arms outstretched and welcome to your heavenly visitor? Or would you have to change your clothes before you let him in? Or hide some magazines that you put the Bible where they've been? Would you turn off the radio and hope he hadn't heard and wish you hadn't uttered that last loud, hasty word? Would you hide your worldly music and put some hymn books out? Could you let Jesus walk right in, or would you rush about? And I wonder if the Savior spent a day or two with you. Would you go right on doing the things you always do? Would you keep right on saying the things you always say? Will life for you continue as it does from day to day? Would your family conversation keep on its usual pace? And would you find it hard each note to say a table grace? Would you sing the songs you always sing and read the books you read? Or let him know the things on which your mind and spirit be? Would you take Jesus with you everywhere you plan to go? Or would you maybe change your plans for just a day or so? Would you be glad to have him meet your very closest friends? Or would you hope they stay away until his visit ends? Would you be glad to have him stay forever on and on? Or would you sigh with great relief that he was at last gone? It would be interesting to know the things that you would do if Jesus came in person to spend the holidays with you.
Amen.